Teppo Salminen struggled to iron his shirt and patched a hole with duct tape. He needed to look presentable for a job interview. Despite his efforts, Teppo's criminal record led to his rejection. He was broke and couldn't even afford a second cup of coffee. Teppo knew he wasn't very bright and could only do manual labor, but nobody needed that. However, he managed to catch the interest of a waitress named Sari. She paid for his second cup of coffee and invited the unemployed man on a date. That night, Teppo got lucky. But in the morning, Sari discovered the swastika tattoos on his body and slapped the Nazi across the face. She ordered Teppo to leave her house, and the bald man went off to play soccer with his neo-Nazi friends. However, by evening, the bald romantic was waiting for Sari outside the cafe with flowers. The blonde tried to avoid talking to him. The next time Teppo found Sari in a bar, where she was hanging out with her friends, he sat nearby. The man took the stage and sang a crude yet romantic song for Sari. Afterward, Teppo promised not to bother her again and left the bar. But Sari followed him outside. After a passionate night, she once again demanded that Teppo leave. He didn't go right away. He asked for tools to fix her wobbly railings. Sari liked Teppo, but they couldn't be together because she had a son. She said he couldn't be a father to her child. Teppo joked that since America had a black president, anything was possible. This joke angered Sari, and she shut herself inside the house. Teppo returned to his friends. His brother Harry went to serve in the army. A female Nazi got upset that her boyfriend was staring at a non-white girl and beat him up. Ollie attacked an immigrant bartender because he thought the bartender didn't ring up his order. The skinheads found someone to take their anger out on that evening. They overturned a kiosk where a black guy sold pizza. The poor guy crawled out, and the thugs kicked him. Teppo Salminen had wasted his life on nonsense, but it was time to settle down and think about the future. He visited Sari again. Teppo tried to explain that he fights for his country and can't just leave the organization, but this wouldn't stop him from raising Sari's child as his own. Sari warned him that she'd tear him apart if he ever hurt her son. For now, her son was staying with his father in Sweden. Teppo and Sari went to see Harry take his oath. The two were deeply in love, and soon Teppo moved in with Sari. He was very nervous about meeting her son, and when the boy came home, Teppo was stunned. Ramadani had dark skin. Teppo decided to feed him. He treated Ramadani like any other child, and didn't make a fuss about his skin color. Everything was going well, until the boy saw Teppo's swastika and Aryan lion tattoos in the sauna. The next morning, Ramadani demanded the Nazi leave. Teppo walked the boy to school. Ramadani acted out, playing Muslim music on his phone and praying in the street. When Teppo picked boy up from school, he wore a hat and dark glasses to avoid being recognized. Ollie and his neo-Nazi friends arrived, insisting that Teppo attend an important meeting. They tried to get inside, but Teppo didn't let them in or even peek through the window. Ramadani asked Teppo for help with his homework. They went outside, and the boy said Teppo needed to burn the Finnish flag on camera. When Teppo refused, Ramadani lit the flag himself. Teppo rushed to put out the fire. Then Ramadani suggested they film Teppo beating a black child. The boy wouldn't stop causing trouble. He asked his mom to have Teppo fix the basement light. When Teppo started the repair, Ramadani turned the power back on, shocking him. Teppo barely made it to the meeting in time. The agenda was about foreigners selling sausages. The neo-Nazis had recently defended the honor of Finnish food industries. Teppo received a statuette as a gift. That evening, they discussed the dangers of Islam with an important guest. Ollie envied Teppo and aimed to become the local cell's leader. Drunk, Teppo rehearsed breaking up with Sari, but no one was home. He found a note and rushed to the hospital. Sari was ill and needed to stay there for a while. She admitted she was pregnant with Teppo's child. Teppo was overjoyed and decided not to leave her. For now, he took full responsibility for Ramadani. It turned out that Teppo was to blame for everything. The boy had tried to poison him with rat poison, but his mother tasted the dinner first. The boy cried, and the man proposed a truce at least until Sari returned from the hospital. At school, Ramadani was constantly bullied and taunted. Teppo advised him to fight back and never run away. In return, Ramadani promised to duck down in the car so Teppo wouldn't have to worry about being seen. One evening, Ollie chased the black boy from the kiosk with his truck. Teppo no longer enjoyed such antics. The next morning, Teppo decided to teach the boy to fight but overdid it and threw him to the ground too hard. At that moment, Harry arrived. He was fed up with the army and had gone AWOL. Teppo asked the boy to hide. Harry intended to stay for a while. Several grenades fell out of his backpack. The idiot had stolen them before fleeing. Harry saw photos of Ramadani, and Teppo lied, saying Sari was just helping an African boy. Went to the sauna. The older brother beat up the younger one to make him agree to return to the barracks. The next day, the grenades were missing. Teppo, who had served in the military, asked for his brother to be given another chance. It turned out Harry had fled because he didn't want to take orders from an Asian officer. The commander concluded that Harry was not only a deserter, but also a psychopath, and deemed him unfit for service. Patriot Harry was furious and upset that he couldn't defend his country. Teppo, however, was more concerned about where his brother had hidden the grenades. When Harry returned, he ran into the house and froze upon seeing Ramadani. Teppo warned him not to talk about the boy, touch him, or his things, or else Teppo would kill him. The man searched the entire house, but couldn't find the grenades. Harry divided the living space with a line. Seeing this, Teppo beat his brother and forced him to erase the line. He promised the boy that Harry would move out soon, and Ramadani threatened to kill him. Ramadani was scared and hid a knife under his pillow. Teppo spent the night in the boy's room to protect him. In the morning, Harry drew the line again, and during a game, the ball rolled over it. Ramadani had to think fast. Harry threatened to bring in his neo-Nazi friends if Teppo beat him again. Teppo visited Sari. The poisoning hadn't harmed the baby, but she would have to stay in the hospital longer. At school, Ramadani's shirt was torn. Teppo beat up 3 bullies and ordered the ringleader to give up his shirt. Later, 3 fathers with bats showed up at Teppo's house. They attacked him, and Teppo called for his brother's help, but Harry just turned up the TV. Eventually, Harry changed his mind and eagerly beat up the unwelcome guests. The boy appreciated Teppo's sacrifice and thanked him, asking if he was going to leave. Teppo, moved to tears, promised he wouldn't abandon Ramadani. The next time Ramadani was attacked, he remembered Teppo's move and took the bully down. For this, Ramadani was suspended from school for a week, as the school claimed parents often mistakenly think their children are being bullied. Teppo yelled at the principal and tore up the document. He declared that he would be Ramadani's bodyguard during classes and breaks if necessary, much to the teacher's dismay. Ramadani's father, Salif, came to visit. Harry refused to greet Salif, but Salif just laughed at the racist. Unlike Harry, he was a reserve lieutenant and a taxpayer, while the Nazi lived on welfare. After Salif left, the fathers returned with a mob. The men chased Teppo through the streets. Teppo quickly called his neo-Nazi friends. They surrounded the fathers, and the leader was immediately struck. A small man with glasses tried to bribe them with 400 euros, but the skinheads weren't convinced and beat the intruders. Teppo ensured that no one was permanently injured. Ollie shouted for White Finland several times, and Teppo only raised his hand at the last moment. Harry noticed and confronted his brother, reminding him that he was supposed to be their leader. The Nazis riled themselves up and attacked a Roma camp that evening. Teppo participated in the chaos, beating everyone there with his friends. At home, the boy bragged about cooking dinner for himself that day and asked his stepfather to read to him before bed. Teppo felt ashamed and tears welled up in his eyes. His brother noticed his distress. Teppo confessed to Sari that Moroccan men had assaulted his previous girlfriend because of his activities. He worries that Sari or her son might suffer because of him. On the way back, he promised Ramadani never to strike anyone again. He arrived at the football field and told the Nazis he would join in the game. However, he wasn't alone. Teppo brought the boy out of the car. The Nazis froze in place while the man and his stepson kicked the ball around. Ollie and the other skinheads surrounded Teppo, but Harry stood between them. He prevented harm to his brother, but refused to share their worldview, continuing to insult Ramadani and his father. Teppo told Harry that his behavior shamed him, and he should leave. Additionally, Salif mocked him over the white ticket. Teppo yelled at him. "I can joke too," Harry said, emerging with a grenade from which he removed the fuse. Teppo persuaded his brother to put the fuse back and calm down. Salif was preparing to leave, but another altercation broke out involving him and Harry. Finally, Salif called Harry a Nazi loser. In response, Harry threw a grenade into the car, detonating it. Fortunately, Salif escaped with just bruises. Harry fled and Teppo found himself behind bars. He refused to reveal his brother's location. The brothers arrived at their father's house. Teppo convinced the younger one to surrender, promising they would start a joint venture later. Before saying goodbye, Harry apologized for everything he had done, but did not go to the police. Harry had another grenade and went into the bathroom with it. Teppo realized what was about to happen, but it was too late. When Teppo returned from the funeral, he saw a gang of neo-Nazis outside the house. They attacked the former leader, beating him to the ground. Ollie pulled out a grinding machine from his bag and ground the white lion tattoo down to the flesh. Blood filled the air. After dealing with him, the Nazis left, and just then Sari returned home with her son. She was shocked, but Teppo just laughed and reassured her that everything was fine. Now, everything in his life truly is fine.